the last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.41 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,362 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $584. Antiwar.com reports Hezbollah deputy leader Naim Qassam, interviewed by Reuters, says that the ongoing wars in Iraq and Syria still have no ends in sight, and that the partition of both Iraq and Syria could ultimately result from the open-ended conflict. Qassam insisted that Hezbollah, Iran, and Russia would all remain on Assad's side until the end, and that he believes Assad is the best choice to keep Syria whole. At the same time, U.S. officials remain determined to see Assad ousted, but also want Syria and Iraq to both remain as whole countries. There appears to be growing recognition that this may not happen, however, with CIA Director John Brennan insisting over the weekend that he's got no confidence it's even possible for Syria to avoid partition at this time. The U.S. has repeatedly rejected proposals that would see more regional autonomy within Syria, one plan to keep it nominally whole. U.S. officials aren't as willing to discuss the partition in Iraq as the result of the current war, but many officials have expressed support for Iraqi Kurdistan's eventual independence, which may reflect an effort to mention the possibility, at least somewhat. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports a Virginia school board may temporarily block a student who was born a girl from using the boys' bathroom while a legal fight over transgender rights proceeds on appeal, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. The case is the first time the fight over transgender bathroom rights has reached the Supreme Court. The subject arrived in the heat of a U.S. presidential election in which the makeup of the court is a central issue. In a brief order, the country's highest court put on hold an order from a lower court that had permitted the high school student to use the bathroom of his choice. Last year, the American Civil Liberties Union sued on behalf of Gavin Grimm, who is 17, to challenge the Gloucester County School Board's bathroom policy, which required transgender students to use alternative restroom facilities. The 8-member Supreme Court voted 5-3 to stay the lower court's order. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan would have denied the school board's request that it be able to block a student from exercising a choice in the use of bathroom, according to the order. The order was not a final ruling on the subject. Instead, it rewound the fight to where it was in April before a federal appeals court in Richmond, Virginia, which ruled in Grimm's favor. That ruling by the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals was the first by an appeals court to find that transgender students are protected under federal laws that bar sex-based discrimination. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports President Barack Obama on Wednesday granted more requests for clemency for U.S. prisoners than any presidential administration had done in more than a century, according to the White House. Obama commuted the sentences of 214 prisoners, the most in a single day, according to the White House, since at least 1900. The number also makes Obama the most clemency-friendly president since Calvin Coolidge. Wednesday's orders are part of a 2014 Justice Department initiative to free thousands of American prisoners who are serving long sentences for nonviolent drug crimes due to mandatory minimum guidelines in federal law. The measure seeks to shorten prison terms for offenders who would be given lighter sentences for the same crimes under today's laws. Obama's action gives new life to 67 prisoners who had been serving life sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. For example, Maryland inmate Marston Edward Blue was given a life term in 2002 after a conviction on a charge of conspiracy with intent to distribute, aiding and abetting, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Now his sentence will expire on December 1st. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmas-time happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We will take your calls about whatever is on your mind. Plus, we have brought some things to the table. Conan, you're going to tell us in a little bit about an anti-gun preacher that bought all the raffle tickets or something.
He was rigging the system. His name was not Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It was something else.
I don't think anybody would ever confuse Debbie Wasserman Schultz of being a pastor. Chris, you've got a couple of stories about sovereign citizens. And we will begin the show by going to the Skypes. We've got David calling in. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, I want to tell you a little trick I did to mine Bitcoin when I was in high school.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was about 2 years ago.
Okay, because you sound pretty young.
Yeah, so the difficulty was way lower when I was in high school. So the computers, that was back in the days when you could mine Bitcoin with graphics cards. So the way I would do that is I would go to the computer lab every morning and I would set up on like 15 different computers the Bitcoin. I would basically mine Bitcoin in a pool, and I would basically gain Bitcoin and have it mine all day till like 8 p.m.
So how long did it take before you wound up getting caught by the principal or the computer lab instructor, and you wound up having to, give all of your Bitcoin to the school?
That never happened because, to be perfectly honest, it was just a computer lab and I actually went to a non-traditional high school and a community college. So it was a public lab and nobody really monitored it. So yeah,
very cool.
Way to do it.
Wait. All right. So you were able to access all these computers. You didn't have to log in to them. They were just open computers.
Right. So every time you started up the computers, they would re-image, so you didn't have to deal with logins because it was also a public library.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah. What I did when I was in high school, and we had the crappy, maybe you know some of the models, Chris, because they're beyond me. They were all DOS.
Right.
But we would set up the alarm systems to go off like 5 minutes after we left the building.
Oh, just like a timer and a
timer
something
and a buzzer.
Nice.
And so 15 minutes or 10 minutes after the bell rang, and you're already long gone, all the computers would just go off.
So did you have do you have some sort of script you ran or something? You go in with a USB and reload it? Because if they're re-imaging every night, that's basically a full reset.
Right, yeah. So I would basically keep on a flash drive. What was it? It was GUI Miner. So it was in a GUI, and then you could just input your pool URL, and you could basically use computer graphics cards to mine Bitcoin all day, because the difficulty was low then. That's before they really had ASICs.
Oh, yeah.
Now I suppose do it with Ethereum, because that is a more memory-intensive algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's brilliant. And, again, that's sort of the false security that a lot of places that provide computers to the public fall into. They're like, well, if we just image them every night and then we don't have to worry about any common sense security measures, and you found a perfect way to exploit it and a profitable way to exploit it. Good for you.
Do you have any idea how many Bitcoins you were able to harness?
So I mined both Bitcoin and Litecoin. At that point, Bitcoin was probably, I'd want to say about $200. So I maybe made a couple bucks off of that. But Litecoin, I mined, and the difficulty was so low that you could get a big handful, and then the value went up, and then I sold the Bitcoins for Bitcoin, I sold the Litecoin for Bitcoin and got more Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, I think I sold them all off because I was dumb and didn't wait for the price of Bitcoin to go up. I just bought stupid crap. Stupid crap on like all the markets there, dark web. End of the day, it might have been like 1 or 2 Bitcoins when they were really low in value, like less than couple $100.
Well, really low in value would be when I found out about Bitcoin back in like 2010, 2011, and it was like 10 cents a Bitcoin. Yeah. That's really low. $200 would not be considered really low.
Yeah. Yeah, but good for you. And we were all sitting there. I think we were all thinking, so how much did he make? So is he Skyping to us from Monaco?
Yeah, he's not even telling us what he was telling us. Yeah, because he's out of the country right now.
That's all right.
He might be out of the country. I hear a bit of a Canadian accent.
I was not going to stereotype and go there, Darryl.
I heard the boot.
A boot, where are you from?
I'm actually from Detroit.
There we go.
Detroit is almost Canada. David, thanks for the call. And you can call in and sound as good as David did if you have Skype, and Skype into LRN.FM. The toll-free line, if you don't use the Skype or don't want to use the Skype, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Chris, let's jump into, you've actually got a couple stories about Korryn Gaines. So, first off, who is she, and what's the news?
Yeah, so Korryn Gaines, I actually have a story here from the Washington Post I'll just kind of go into, and that leads into other stories. 3 officers with the Baltimore County Police arrived at Korryn Gaines' apartment around 9:20 a.m. on Monday to serve warrants to her, as well as a man who was also residing there. The man was wanted an assault charge, while Gaines, 23, had an arrest warrant for failing to appear in court after a traffic violation in March. According to police, no one responded to 10 minutes of door knocking, even though they could hear several people inside. When officers obtained a key to the apartment, they found Gaines sitting on the floor. Her 5-year-old son was wrapped in one of her arms, and her other hand was a shotgun. Around 3 p.m., after several hours of negotiations, police say Gaines raised the gun at officers and told them that she would kill them if they did not leave. The officers opened fire.
All right, and this is one of those situations to where nobody really knows exactly what happened, because the police actually had the live streaming service she was using shut down her video feed.
That may be an aspect of it. Do you have something on that? I don't know.
I have heard that, and I've read that in several places, but I did not bring that as show prep, but I will try to find
we'll keep looking at that.
Something about that.
Yeah, the first time I saw this, the headline was like, Facebook takes down the video, or at least the police. I think the day I saw, the police asked them to take it down. But yeah, as you, Darryl, I don't have the actual information.
Yeah, my understanding was that there was a woman that was streaming, and I did not know that it was necessarily to Facebook, but she was streaming some video, and the police contacted that service and asked them to cut off the feed. They did, and that's when they wound up, just a couple minutes later, she wound up dead, and, of course, there's no video because the video feed got cut off.
LawStreetMedia.com reports that police asked Facebook and Instagram to deactivate Gaines' accounts during the standoff to facilitate the negotiating. Reportedly, her followers asked her not to comply with the officers, so someone was watching this live. The Facebook video was later removed, but the short videos she posted before that are on her Instagram account and are still online.
We'll dig into that. According to the police, perceiving not only her actions, but the words she used, we discharged one round at her, and in turn, she fired several rounds back at us. Police Chief Jim Johnson said during a news conference on Monday night, we fired again at her, striking and killing her. Tragically, in this circumstance, the child that was also in the dwelling was struck by a round.
Now, I want you to notice, and this is something that has made my blood boil ever since it was pointed out to me, the language that they use, to where they use language that alleviates themselves of any responsibility. We fired some rounds, she was struck. No, you shot her.
Right.
That's what happened. You shot her. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
If you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please stay tuned for a special free offer from the makers of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit the ear almost invisibly, and it can be adjusted to find the perfect way to hear everything in every listening environment. Right now, we're offering absolutely free in-home trials to everyone who calls now. 1-800-721-9369. Call in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also receive free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is lightweight and practically invisible, so people won't notice when you're wearing it. So again, if you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please give them or yourself this life-changing 100% free in-home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-721-9369. That's 1-800-721-9369. 1-800-721-9369.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisements. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. Free Talk Live.
The DEA doesn't dabble with users. They go after the big dogs.
Yeah, I'm certain they have dabbled with users, and they would if they thought they could get something. They would if they thought they could get somewhere with it.
Maybe a user who's snorting 3 pounds a week, something where they could actually connect to a player.
Yeah.
But most users are just buying from other users. I mean, in the cocaine world, when you are a user, you've got to support your habit somehow.
Right.
And if you're not willing to go and knock over convenience stores and break into people's cars and hurt people to get the cash for your habit, then the only other choice for you, if you're not wealthy, is to sell cocaine to others.
Right.
And so most people will go and pick up whatever amount of coke they do, and then they'll sell to certain specific people who are their friends. Like he was saying, he was selling to his neighbor across the street. The DEA is not going to mess with that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $4 higher at $1,362 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents lower at $20.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $575 US. Gold and silver have been quietly outperforming the stock market all this year. Perhaps it's time for you to diversify your savings. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And I did pull up a couple of stories about the Korryn Gaines situation. The Free Thought Project has an article titled 5 Extremely Important Facts That You Need to Know. And I'm just going to read these bullet points, not the full information that they have. The incident stemmed from a traffic stop that led to Gaines' arrest in March, which she recorded. She had previously complained about police harassment and had 1 misdemeanor on her record. She also had a bench warrant for failure to appear. It does mention that she had free traveler written on a piece of cardboard on the back end of her paper, or on the back end of her vehicle, so she was a right-to-travel activist.
The actual quote, the actual cardboard on the back of her car: any government official who compromises this pursuit of happiness and right to travel will be held criminally responsible and fined, as this is a natural right and freedom. End quote.
Facebook did deactivate her Facebook account, and her Instagram account was also deactivated. Both of those at the request of police as she live streamed the standoff. The police claim that they had no working body cameras during the encounter, so there is absolutely no video of what happened, so the police can say absolutely anything they want. Court documents reveal that Gaines suffered from lead poisoning, and a vigil is scheduled for Friday night while the Baltimore police continue to investigate themselves. We'll get back into this story, but first, your phone calls. We've got Andrew calling in from Massachusetts. Andrew, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi. Yesterday you had a guy talking about Chinese internet censorship. He called in from China.
Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts.
I recently found out that Sprint will occasionally route their internet activity through Chinese servers. And I found this out by going to a website that was censored, and I'd like you to actually take a guess at what website that is. It's actually near and dear to you.
freetalklive.com, LRN.FM, GCNlive.com, I'm not sure.
Porcupine Real Estate.
Interesting. You're saying that is blocked in China?
According to the error message, they told me it was being routed through a Chinese server.
I wonder if the Chinese government just blocks all real estate companies. Because they don't want anybody leaving China and buying property elsewhere.
Well, they don't want
renting an apartment.
They
elsewhere.
don't want the citizens buying up property elsewhere. That's a job for the Chinese government, right?
Got to keep the yuan here. Interesting.
But yeah, that would be that would be something their government probably would not want. Hey, let's look at some properties around the globe, and there's some nice land there in New Hampshire, where it's the freest state in the U.S.
Yeah, I guess my question is, and how do you know that this is an intentional routing? And I only bring that up because the internet itself is a massive, distributed, uncentralized network where routes can go wherever they like based on the amount of available bandwidth and the latency
I'm
between
summoning
different
my
places.
inner Conan, and I'm going to say that's what they want you to think, Chris.
Duh.
I know. But yeah, is there something more that indicates that this was done intentionally?
I tried it several times over the course of several weeks, and it kept failing with the same message.
Very interesting. Andrew, thank you for the call. Let's go to Trucker Joe calling in from Ohio. Trucker Joe, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hello there, gentlemen. Well, as my name says, I'm Trucker Joe. I'm a professional driver, and I'm calling tonight to
Thank you for your service.
Talk to your audience. Thank you. I'm calling tonight to talk to your audience. Every day I drive anywhere from 500 to 600 miles, and you'd be amazed at the number of people who seem to think driving right in front of my truck is a fantastic idea for their health. I've currently got a truck that weighs just under 80,000 pounds, and I had somebody drive feet from the front of my truck at 65 miles an hour today. Everything that everyone buys comes on a truck, and the economy depends on people like me. Give us a break. Give us some room. We can't stop on the drop of a dime.
You know what it is, don't you? It's those stupid Fast and Furious movies where the cars can do flips and they can go right underneath the semi-body without getting a scratch.
So and you give Fast and Furious way too much credit for people driving like complete a-holes.
My biggest worry in life is that someday I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think about that with motorcycles all the time, and I don't drive a big rig. I drive, a SUV or a Jeep or something like that. But you have to be so aware of what's around you at all times, and that has nothing to do with we need more laws or anything else. That's just being respectful of life in general.
Now, I remember when I was in high school and I took driver's ed 20 some odd years ago. And they told us you should remain 3 car lengths behind the vehicle in front of you.
Depends on how fast you're going.
Yeah.
No, 3 car lengths.
I disagree with that, but go ahead.
Now, with trucks, because they take a lot longer to stop, you should probably be about 5 or 6 car lengths at minimum in front of a big rig. Is that right?
Yeah, the company that I work for actually counsels all their drivers to keep a 7-second separation between you and the vehicle in front of you.
Now that makes sense to me because it's based on speed, like Conan was saying.
Yep.
It's a whole lot different.
The weight of the vehicle. And the weight of the vehicle.
Yeah, and for a big rig, like you said, you can't stop on a dime. That's like slamming on the brakes on a locomotive. It just doesn't work.
Yep, it takes hundreds of feet to stop a fully loaded big rig.
So so I was joking that the problem is the Fast and Furious movies, but really the problem is that no one has actually driven anything bigger than a four passenger car, and they just don't know what is required to stop.
Do drivers' ed courses now teach Common Core? Is that maybe what's going on here? Do we have some government standard for driver's ed?
So instead of like 5 car lengths, the average, it's some kind of math formula that you have to...
Exactly.
It's like if you
have to get the calculator out.
If you can see the bumper of the car in front of you, you're too far behind. Pull closer.
So you can read the bumper. Oh, there's your problem. All the stupid bumper stickers. I gotta figure out what's
no,
what
like
it says.
I've been driving before and then seen vehicles behind me. And it's like, all I can see is the roof. You're too close if all I can see in my rear view is the roof of your car. And I'm just, in like a normal car half the time.
Yeah, How do you think I feel when all I can see is the roof of the car out of my front window?
Yeah, that's
that would be absolutely scary. Trucker Joe, again, thank you for your service, and thank you
gentlemen.
for the wise advice. And people would be very wise to heed that advice and don't get too close to the big rigs. They do have signs on the back that say, if you can't see my side mirrors, I can't see you. Same thing goes for the front. If you can't see those side mirrors, then, well, you're too close. This is Free Talk Live.
New ProMax filter technology from ProPure removes over 200 contaminants from your drinking water, including the stuff you don't taste, smell, or see, like PFOA. ProMax is independent lab tested to NSF standards. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com. Ask about our free shipping special on ProMax. Don't drink just any water. Drink Pro Purified water.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 8:55 for 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we have the Skypes, and we'll go to that momentarily. But I want to make sure that I tell you, if you have Bitcoin, you need to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. That is the Jax wallet, Jaxx. You can get that at jaxx.io, jaxx.io. Or it's also available in the App Store. It's in the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. And there's absolutely no wallet like it. You can hold Bitcoin, Ether, and DAO tokens with it, and more currencies are coming. There's Shapeshift integration that allows for frictionless, easy exchange between currencies. It was created by Anthony Diorio, the creator of CryptoKit and founder of Ethereum. He's also the chief digital officer of the Toronto Stock Exchange. It's easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jax, and Jax is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. Your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jax, that's jaxx.io, the official wallet of Free Talk Live. Let's go to Skype. We've got Ian calling in on Skype, and I believe this is the same Ian that called in from China last night. Ian, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I am Mr. China. In China, if you can't read the speedometer on the car in front of you, you need to get closer.
Yeah, that's probably a little too close.
Because otherwise, how would you know how fast the guy in front of you is going if you can't read a speedometer?
In China, nobody cares. All the speed limits are posted as a suggestion.
I like that idea.
Trust me. When I live in a small city of about 4.5 million people. We're a tier 3 city.
Hold on, did you say 4.5 million people?
Yeah, I think it's 4.61 million.
That's a small city?
It's so small, it's almost off the radar.
Really breaking
Yeah,
up.
Ian, you're really breaking up. I'm not sure what's wrong with the connection. If you want to try calling back, and hopefully that connection does wind up getting better. Because it is always, interesting hearing stories from other countries, especially
the supposedly bad countries. I want to hear more from Russia and China and places like that where we just get a bad rap, and it's like, well, why? Maybe they're doing something good, and our puppet masters don't want us knowing.
Oh yeah, the whole Tiananmen Square incident, that was just absolutely wonderful.
How many years ago was that?
About 26.
Oh, then the statute of limitations for us feeling bad about it is obviously expired. So, okay, no harm, no foul. Chinese Communist Party, go ahead and run a tank over some more innocent protesters.
We never found out what happened to that guy.
Of course not. We probably never will.
No, we probably won't.
And, unlike the Korryn Gaines situation, there actually was video of part of that Tiananmen Square situation until they grabbed Tank Man and drug him out through the crowd. And Chris, I believe you had more.
The reason exactly. That's where I was going. That it's been also suspected that he was drugged and grabbed out of there by his buddies. They're like, hey, all right, you served your purpose. Now let's get out of here before you get caught.
Right.
So he might be.
Nobody really knows.
Right. And it's but it did create a very stirring presentation of what was going on, and I suspect that China is coming up out of that chasm, as is Russia. Except we're not hearing about the good things. We're not hearing about how wonderful the capitalism is over in China. We're hearing about all the pollution that they're creating.
Well, and we hear about a lot of problems with their workers and
Apple workers throwing themselves off of buildings.
Right, but I can't sit here and go, okay, a socialist communist country, we're probably not getting the good stuff that's occurring over there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
We do have Ian back on the line on Skype. Ian, continue with your thoughts.
I have borrowed my neighbor's connection. I hope it's better.
A little bit.
Okay. I wanted to talk about how the police do a better job here than in America.
How the police do a better job in China than in the U.S. Okay.
Okay. Situation and protocol is to stand a policeman over 50
You
years
are
of age.
breaking up again. I can barely understand anything that was said there.
You know what? Here, bringing up the conditions in China, weren't there some police officers who were I guess taken out? Like 4 of them, they beat up a girl or raped a girl or something, and they just got mobbed. These police officers, they got their little wagon flipped, they got drug out, and they were beaten to death.
That does sound familiar.
So yeah, if our police officers here in our country were also if that was also an outcome that could come down their street, they might be a little more wary whenever they were dealing with us.
It's an outcome that can always occur, but the likelihood is pretty low. You know what I mean? I think most people, I'm going to say most people, I'll make some generalizations. Most people respect, quote unquote, the rule of law, and most people believe in the quote unquote authority of police officers.
Right. And Davi Barker had even postulated, and he wrote a book about it called Authoritarian Sociopathy, and he initially wanted to try doing a psychological experiment to figure out if people would wind up just sitting by while they witnessed police violence.
Right.
And they will. I don't think this is I think he already knew what the outcome was going to be and how many people would actually step up. When the person who's doing the beating has a badge on or a uniform or a fancy, costume.
I think we're seeing that change, and certainly people's perception, the people that
now
say
people
that
will pull out a video camera and film it. They're not actually going to prevent someone from being physically assaulted, because you've got all the people that say, well, you don't know what happened before the cop wound up bashing his face into the sidewalk.
Yeah, and you probably don't want to die either, so you can get away with videotaping. At least they're not going to shoot you all the time.
Exactly, but that's one point of it. The flip side is this reaction by more and more in law enforcement, and this comes from the war on drugs, and it comes from modern training and modern dogma in policing is that they've kind of made the entirety of the public the potential enemy, and that potential enemy always has the possibility of deadly force. Therefore, I must act first. So I go home at the end of my shift.
When they stop you, they always suspect you.
Let's try Ian one more time. Hopefully the third time is a charm. Ian, go ahead with your thoughts. No, you are breaking up even worse now than you were.
This is why we can't.
Sorry.
This is why we can't get any information from China, because of the damn lines.
Oh yeah, you got some government censor over there going, it's Ian again. He's trying to call that.
He's trying one more time.
Live,
For some weird reason, when he calls in on the nights that I'm in the second chair, his phone calls are smooth. They're smooth and flawless. When I'm sitting in the button-pushing chair, I can't hear or understand much of anything. I really wish that it wasn't like that.
Well, I'm going to steer us back to the Korryn Gaines story.
Yes.
And basically, I had 3 stories that all kind of relate to this. So the next story comes from HeatStreet.com, and the headline is this: Was Korryn Gaines, the woman shot in standoff with Baltimore police, a sovereign citizen? So the sovereign citizen movement it's kind of flared up again. I think part of that is social media and lots of videos getting out there on YouTube from sovereign citizens. But we also have the shooter in Dallas who subscribed to, I guess, the Moorish beliefs.
So we will get back into that and your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, But now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507.
This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com, mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about sovereign citizens, or the possibility that somebody that was recently killed by the police might be a sovereign citizen. Is that why the police in Baltimore wound up killing Korryn Gaines?
That's the trigger word that they used.
No, the police in Baltimore did not say that they killed her. They say that they discharged their weapons. She was hit with a bullet and then later died.
But they claim
police will never admit that they
sovereign
killed
citizen
anybody.
is the trigger word.
They will.
They can get away with it because that's what they use. They use the trigger word.
Well, and that's the thing. There's all sorts of words and all sorts of phrases that they will use because sovereign citizens are seen by our government and seen by police as a terrorist organization. We're not talking about people that just don't like to obey the laws or feel that I'm not saying I do, but your government feels that they are terrorists. Yeah, and that changes the game completely.
And it's not just government and the police. I hear it locally. People fearful that some sovereign citizen is going to come shoot up the school or,
right.
tear down the walls.
The only time I ever hear the term sovereign citizen mentioned is if it's somehow referenced in a news article or if it's in an application for a ballistic engineered armored response counterattack truck, and that's the big fancy name for what they lovingly refer to as a Bearcat.
Yeah, it sounds more cute and cuddly that way.
The Concord police a couple years ago claimed that sovereign citizens, free staters, and Occupy New Hampshire provide daily challenges, and that's why they need a ballistic engineered armored response counterattack truck. I sent a FOIA request to the Concord police asking for a list of these daily challenges. They responded, "We have no documents responsive to your request." We'll get back into this.
Wait, I'm going to lose
We've got a Skype caller.
I'm going to lose my thought. It's real quick, Darryl. It's real quick. I've been listening to the radio all this week, local radio. And establishment Republican, talking about sovereign citizens this whole week before this shooting, before this happened. He's been talking about it all week. He's also claiming that they're Trump supporters, which blew my mind because I thought that's it, are they?
No, I don't think they support any politicians. I don't think they support any political parties.
But anyway,
they don't even support the U.S. government. So,
well, this particular cat on the radio was putting KKK, white supremacists and sovereign citizens and anti-government types all in the same, lumping them all in the same group, and
yeah, people like to do that because they're like, oh, well, they all have this one thing in common.
Right. They all don't like the government, therefore they must all be the same.
But I listen to other things other than just liberty shows, so sure. I hear it, Darryl. It exists. These people are fearful. They think that sovereign citizens are going to come shoot up the school tomorrow morning. And
well, it would make no sense to go shoot up the school tomorrow morning because it's the middle of summer and school is out.
Exactly. Summer school. The dumb kids.
Well, I think you're onto something, though, Conan. I think there is a push to, at least by police, to reinvigorate the conversation around sovereign citizens and the threat they may or may not pose.
Let's continue this after we go to Skype. We've got Hung Like Jesus calling in on Skype. Hung, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, everybody. Maybe a month and a half or so ago, I was listening to you three, and you all were in agreement that racism is not as bad or was something to that effect as it used to be or once was. And I wanted to call in at night, but I just didn't. And I was wondering, how is it that three white males sitting in New Hampshire, how they come to that conclusion that racism is not as bad as it used to be? I'm just curious for that.
Well, right now, compared to, say, 60 years ago, there's not government-mandated racism. So if I ever did say that racism isn't as bad now as it was probably in reference to people are not being forced to be racist.
And that's where we had Jim Crow laws. We had all sorts of things that mandated, for example, the use of separate restrooms and things like that, and segregation and things like that. And go back a little bit further and say that, okay, well, at least now it's illegal for me to own another person as property, and things like that. Now, if I personally indicated that I was speaking gospel as the voice of reason, and I know what it's like to be a black man or a Chinese woman or an Afghan kid in today's society, I didn't mean to convey that at all, because I can't.
I think this is a comment that I made, and I am originally from the South. I'm from Florida, and that's where I grew up. I was there at least almost 30 years, and I grew up in a heavily black, white, Hispanic community, and I had many black friends, many Hispanic friends. I ended up marrying a Puerto Rican. I'm colorblind. I don't understand the concept. It bothers me. But compared to 50 years ago, definitely the racism it's still there. but I just don't see it like what we've read about in the history books. That I've never experienced what I consider true racism. Yeah, I've heard old white dudes saying N-word. I've heard old black dudes calling me a cracker, calling white dudes cracker and stuff. I mean, I've heard that, but as far as my generation, the youngins, I think it's going away. It really is going away. I think that there are individuals who are trying to bring it back because it's their bread and butter. It's their lawyer types. They're trying to bring it back because that's their livelihood.
And I'll throw one more thing out there, and then I really do want to hear your thoughts on this, and that's the war on drugs. When Nixon declared the war on drugs, he did it because there were really two groups that were messing with him that he couldn't just do away with. The first one was hippies, and that was the idea behind making marijuana a Schedule I drug and making it, criminalizing it to that degree. And the second one was the blacks, that the Black Panthers and all these black groups were very much against his programs. And the way to do that, he felt, was to outlaw heroin, to make sure that we had a war on drugs. That way we could quietly attack the hippies and attack the blacks and do it in the name of children's safety. And that was all kind of verified by John Ehrlichman. I may not have the right guy within the Nixon White House, but please, can you give us your point of view? It's better than all of ours.
Yeah, you're right. Government doesn't sanction racism anymore, but it's I think a lot of it now is unspoken. It's agreements between people that we're going to do it this way and we won't do it that way. And especially since Trump has emboldened a lot of people now here recently to just speak what's on their mind. Speak now what's on their mind, where in the past they wouldn't have said it. And these things are going on. I'm sitting here reading a story now about a person that attacked someone. And to me, it's simply because Trump is emboldening a lot of people just go ahead and feel okay about doing these things because they know they have someone in their corner who they can do it publicly and it won't be chastised as much or even at all now. But as far as me and this black body that I'm in, racism is really subtle. I don't even think people who aren't black or a person of color can even imagine the stuff that we ignore each day. The racism that we ignore each day, I don't even think a white person can even handle.
Right.
Because it's so subtle and you know it, but you're so used to it. You just go along. Because what are you going to do? You're going to jump up and down all day long. Right. But racism hadn't went anywhere. It's just not sanctioned by the government anymore.
Well, in some ways it is. It absolutely is. And I think we still see, we talked about the war on drugs, and that's still going on today. I mean, we're making some strides against it. But this whole idea that, number one, we are going to make it such a penalty that we are going to turn whole sections of urban areas into war zones. And the police are going to see the people that live in those areas as the enemy. I don't know where you're from. I didn't catch that on the intro, but I used to live in Maryland. I used to live in Pennsylvania. I spent a lot of time in Baltimore and D.C. and stuff like that because there were cool places to go. But those were battle zones, and that goes on to today. So I'm not sure we can even say that government no longer sanctions racism. I think government sponsors that to some degree. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, of course, when you look at the war on drugs, of course, that's just an obvious attack on people. But I was raised in D.C. I live outside of Atlanta, and we have a huge black population here. Of course, we're being ran out now by Hispanics.
Hold your thought. I'm fairly certain you've got more. We will be back with you and your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.41 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,362 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $584. Antiwar.com reports Hezbollah deputy leader Naim Qassam, interviewed by Reuters, says that the ongoing wars in Iraq and Syria still have no ends in sight, and that the partition of both Iraq and Syria could ultimately result from the open-ended conflict. Qassam insisted that Hezbollah, Iran, and Russia would all remain on Assad's side until the end, and that he believes Assad is the best choice to keep Syria whole. At the same time, U.S. officials remain determined to see Assad ousted, but also want Syria and Iraq to both remain as whole countries. There appears to be growing recognition that this may not happen, however, with CIA Director John Brennan insisting over the weekend that he's got no confidence it's even possible for Syria to avoid partition at this time. The U.S. has repeatedly rejected proposals that would see more regional autonomy within Syria, one plan to keep it nominally whole. U.S. officials aren't as willing to discuss the partition in Iraq as the result of the current war, but many officials have expressed support for Iraqi Kurdistan's eventual independence, which may reflect an effort to mention the possibility, at least somewhat. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports a Virginia school board may temporarily block a student who was born a girl from using the boys' bathroom while a legal fight over transgender rights proceeds on appeal, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. The case is the first time the fight over transgender bathroom rights has reached the Supreme Court. The subject arrived in the heat of a U.S. presidential election in which the makeup of the court is a central issue. In a brief order, the country's highest court put on hold an order from a lower court that had permitted the high school student to use the bathroom of his choice. Last year, the American American Civil Liberties Union sued on behalf of Gavin Grimm, who is 17, to challenge the Gloucester County School Board's bathroom policy, which required transgender students to use alternative restroom facilities. The 8-member Supreme Court voted 5-3 to stay the lower court's order. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan would have denied the school board's request that it be able to block a student from exercising a choice in the use of bathroom, according to the order. The order was not a final ruling on the subject. Instead, it rewound the fight to where it was in April before a federal appeals court in Richmond, Virginia, which ruled in Grimm's favor. That ruling by the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals was the first by an appeals court to find that transgender students are protected under federal laws that bar sex-based discrimination. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports President Barack Obama on Wednesday granted more requests for clemency for U.S. prisoners than any presidential administration had done in more than a century, according to the White House. Obama commuted the sentences of 214 prisoners, the most in a single day, according to the White House, since at least 1900. The number also makes Obama the most clemency-friendly president since Calvin Coolidge. Wednesday's orders are part of a 2014 Justice Department initiative to free thousands of American prisoners who are serving long sentences for nonviolent drug crimes due to mandatory minimum guidelines in federal law. The measure seeks to shorten prison terms for offenders who would be given lighter sentences for the same crimes under today's laws. Obama's action gives new life to 67 prisoners who had been serving life sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. For example, Maryland inmate Marston Edward Blue was given a life term in 2002 after a conviction on a charge of conspiracy with intent to distribute, aiding and abetting, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Now his sentence will expire on December 1st. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The entire nation has been transfixed by the emotional saga of missing toddler Aaron Crawford. Police remain baffled by 4-year-old Aaron's mysterious disappearance. The Crawford family is finally speaking out, but it isn't easy.
We're taking it day by day, you know? We just miss our baby so much.
This must be so hard on everyone.
All he does is cry. I hate him.
Little Aaron was last seen in the bedroom he shares with his older brother, Denny. Authorities say he was abducted by an intruder in the middle of the night.
Denny was in the room when Aaron was taken. Yeah, right here. Now it's just my room.
Denny, can you tell us what happened?
I was in my room. A man lifted up the window and came in.
Were you scared?
Yes, because I thought he was going to take my Xbox.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we will head back to the phones and specifically to Skype. The phone number is 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm, but you can't call in on Skype right now. That's because we've got Hung Like Jesus on the line. Hung, you had called in during the last hour, and you had mentioned that you heard a couple weeks ago that on this show, specifically an episode with me, Chris, and Conan, that somebody on the show, and Conan took responsibility for the statement that we had said that either racism does not exist or it's not as bad now as it used to be. And you wanted to call in to ask 3 white guys what they knew about racism.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were making a point about you currently live in the Atlanta area, And you had specifically said that there's a lot of racism that you ignore on a daily basis. And I'm curious about what some of that would be.
It's just, it'll be hard to pinpoint those things because, like I said, after a while, you just don't store them up anymore. You just move from one to the next. But it's little slights. I mean, and it's nothing that I could even call out right now.
But
okay,
like related to like pop culture or things like that.
Oh,
it's like, what a great song. You must like this.
Or little things. Maybe not that as much. But anyway, as I was sitting here, I had a email alert. I'm on my phone, and I have email alerts that come in. And right when this last segment was finished, I had an email that came in, and this is the title of the of the story. Quite ironic. White Christian church not ready to accept black people. Alabama pastor fired for breaking protocol.
Yeah, he was fired?
Yeah, because he wanted to invite black people to the church, but of course the church wasn't going to have it.
Wow. That's absolutely horrible and inexcusable. I have a question for you, Hung. We have somebody that has called in on the telephone line that they say they have a question for you. Would you take a call or take a question from a caller?
Yeah, I would.
All right. This person is calling themselves Muhammad, claims to be calling in from Mecca. You are on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
It's dung like Mohammed, which is about as funny as hung like Jesus. How you doing?
Well, it says that you have a question for our Skype caller. Do you have a question?
I do. Kind of like Chris says, John Ehrlichman, and therefore the drug war is based on racism. Dung like Muhammad, hung like Jesus says racism is everywhere. It's just subtle. He just says it's subtle, therefore it is. But he hasn't given any examples of subtle racism. And might I just interject, sir, whatever your real name is, it's good that I don't know it, because I believe you're a racist. I believe you see racism everywhere because you're looking for it. Just like you found it online about some Alabama congregation that all of us speaking now online have something in common. We despise racism. But you're a racist, sir, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But give me some examples of subtle racism that you see everywhere, because all my black friends here in Arizona, they have good life, have just as many opportunities as I do, in spite of the color of their skin being black. In fact, they have plenty of opportunities in this great country and God's green earth. And the racism you see is in your heart and in your mirror, sir. But give me some examples, please. Don't just say, therefore it is.
Give him a chance to answer.
Give him a chance to answer. Thank you for the call, James.
James, I can't stand you.
Welcome to the club.
Ask.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not going to reply to anything. I can't stand that dude. I'm not gonna play his game.
That's fair enough. So I got another question, and this will kind of go the other way, but do we have a right of association? In other words, if white bigots want to get together and have a church that's all about white bigotry, which I think we would all agree is reprehensible.
Yes.
Do they have a right to do so?
Of course they do. No, I've never denied anyone the right to associate with whom they want.
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't bother me at all. Matter of fact, I would prefer someone tell me that they didn't want me in their spots. I wouldn't go in that place. So, then I can keep my business and my money in my pocket.
Don't give them your money. That's boycott those people.
I wouldn't give them my money either.
All right, so this is the way that I've always seen this, and I think part of the reason why I'm colorblind and I just don't notice these things. And I'm definitely white, so I don't feel it like you would, because I'm in the majority. But there's a famous Morgan Freeman quote.
Oh my God! Please don't say that.
Oh, come on now. It's so true. That's the only way to fix it. If you keep stirring it up, if you keep talking about it, it'll never go away. As soon as you drop the rhetoric.
Were you getting ready to say "you people"?
Maybe.
Anyway,
I think you did drop a "you people," and I got offended by that.
No kidding.
Morgan Freeman is way too old to even let that come out of his lips.
And rich and successful, so he's like on a whole nother spectrum.
Yeah, so he's insulated from all of this. How is it that a problem will take care of itself just by not speaking it?
Well,
how is that gonna work? Tell me.
If you keep talking about it, it will never go away. I mean, because it's constantly on your mind. You're constantly thinking about it. You're looking for it.
If I'm talking about it, I'm talking about what's happening to me, not something that I'm doing. I'm talking about what's happening to me. How is me talking about what's happening to me going to cause the thing to not exist anymore?
So, yeah, there is that argument, and I hear it often that, well, Black Lives Matter, if you just quit talking about it, then, the problem will go away, which is BS. And again, I in this particular example, I really do go back to government as the problem in this, because we have policies that perpetuate it.
Affirmative action is a prime example. But if you're treating another person differently because of his skin color, then you're perpetuating the problem. You're proving that there is a difference.
Yeah, I always like, the military aspect of this was, I'm going to treat you all the same regardless of what color you are. I'm going to treat you all like crap. And that's what we did, and that was fine. But I think for meaningful change to occur, and face it, we're maybe 100 years past some serious, maybe 50 years past some serious racism that was just accepted. I shouldn't be talking to you because you're of a lesser race. That was the attitude. We've come from there to where we are now. And the only thing I could ever do as a human being on the planet Earth was, when I had a son, was to teach him that, I've met all kinds of people of all different colors, and a lot of them were great, and a lot of them were
garbage.
were that. And there was no correlation between their standing as a human being and the color of their skin or what religion they were or anything else. So I almost see this as an evolutionary process, and it seems like we're headed the right way. It can't be fast enough for people that are on the receiving end of this stuff. You know what I mean?
But how can you say we're on the way when Trump is? He'll say anything and he'll lose not one supporter. Matter of fact, he may even gain a dozen a day.
I think he lost. He lost some with the con statements.
He also said that he could shoot somebody in the face on Fifth Avenue and he would not lose a voter. And I have to disagree, because he may have actually shot one of his own voters, so he might lose a single voter, and that would be about it.
But I just, to bring up Trump as an example of America.
That's a perfect example.
Unfortunately, well, I don't claim it.
Again, who is voting for him? A plurality of a minority.
Yeah.
So not the whole country is not voting for Trump.
About 9% of Americans overall chose either Hillary or Trump to be the nominees. Hung, thank you for the call. And we'll take your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And please don't blame me for Trump. Just because, prior to his Cheeto orange tan, we're the same shade of skin. Yeah, don't blame me for that. This is Free Talk Live.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just one drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-951-9693. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let one drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-951-9693. That's 1-800-951-9693.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 pain hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio on demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And did you know that there's a new listen line for the Liberty Radio Network? Well, now you do. And that thing goes 24 hours a day. And it's not just a regular listen line. This is an audio on demand listen line. You can listen to any of the live programs from the Liberty Radio Network when you want to listen to them. Just call 641-793-9660 and then select the show that you want to listen to. You can listen to the LRN stream. You can listen to Free Talk Live, Declare Your Independence, The Freedom Fiends, The Angel Clark Show, The Rebel Love Show, and several other live shows when you want. And there's a new feature. You can leave us a message when you listen. So let's just say that you can't listen live from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern all 7 nights of the week, and you're listening on demand, 641-793-9660, and you press 2 to listen to Free Talk Live, and we say something, and you think, you know what, I have to respond. Well, then just press 0, and you can leave us a voicemail, and it goes to several of the hosts for Free Talk Live. So that's the new listener feedback line on the audio on demand line, 641-793-9660. But of course, if you're listening live, you can call 855-450-FREE like Sarah has done and bring up whatever is on your mind. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I would like to let you know about these things called ghost bicycles. And it's one of those unique things about Albuquerque that we have these. And what they are is they're spray-painted white bicycles with flowers, plastic flowers. And we basically have it on every other corner intersection. And so it's actually like a memorial to all the bicyclists who got killed on that intersection or that street.
And how many of these are there? Based on the way you talk about pedestrians getting killed like every 5 seconds, there must be bicycles everywhere, and no wonder nobody can get around on the sidewalks downtown.
Well, you know what? They're just everywhere, like you said. I mean, they're in the middle of the street.
Like thousands of them?
Wait, why? They're in the middle of the street? How does that work?
Okay, well, I mean, if they got killed, if they got killed on that intersection, and what was the closest, they would put these bicycles with these silk flowers, all make it real pretty. But I see them like every other intersection or on side of the street.
Sarah, take a picture of one of these things and send it to us on Facebook or something.
I actually found a website, ghostbikes.org, and they claim to have a map, and I'm trying to zoom in, and I'm going to see how many of these they have listed. I'm seeing about 4 in all of Albuquerque, according to ghostbikes.org. And you're saying that they're on every street corner?
Well, just about every other corner. I have seen way more than 4. I mean, from floating around in Albuquerque, I have at least seen.
So now they're floating.
Well, I mean, if I'm
These things
wandering
really
around,
are ghost bikes if they're just floating around.
Usually you
I'm
can't.
not talking about the
Usually you can't chain your bike to like a stop sign or any kind of a public warning sign. There's like laws against this, ordinances. I'm wondering if these guys are getting like a free ride because they're, memorials to dead people. What do you think?
Possibly.
Well, it's a memorial, kind of like a monument. But I have seen way more than I have at least seen 15, 20 of them. But I was wondering, is this like unique culture to Albuquerque? And I was wondering if this is a national trend. I wonder if they put these up.
I've seen flowers, memorials here in Keene, especially on the big roads where you are more likely to probably get killed by traffic.
According to this website, they claim to have a map of every ghost bike around the world, and it looks like there's, fair number around the entire world.
They say
they're showing in like what would be considered the downtown Albuquerque area. There's 3, and then further out, there's 3 others that are actually in the city limits of Albuquerque. So they're showing a grand total of 6.
Their website claims 630 bikes in 210 locations throughout the world.
Yeah, they show Austria, Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Belarus, Canada, Cyprus, Czech Republic, basically all over Europe, South America, New Zealand, Ukraine, Turkey. So, yeah, this is apparently global. It's not something unique to Albuquerque. Sarah, thank you for the call.
Comments on this, because, and this is a real thing. I actually grew up with a girl who lost her life on the highway that I traveled every single day to high school, and we're both bicyclists, and this is something that does happen often. Because we live in a country where it's predominantly vehicles, like cars and trucks, so motorcyclists and cyclists are prone to getting knocked off, which is very sad because we do exist. Bicyclists, please pull out the map, pull out the instructions, and read how you're supposed to ride your bicycles. You're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk, and you're not supposed to, drive coming into traffic. You're supposed to drive like a vehicle.
Right,
and vehicles, when you're coming up to a bicyclist, you have to treat him like he was another vehicle. And so I've actually seen bicyclists who will actually ride in the middle of closer to the yellow line to actually make vehicles go around them and not try to sideswipe them, get as close as they can, because you can kind of fit in there, and then you end up hitting the dude with your mirror.
When I ride my bike around in Keene, if I'm not on the rail trail that's specifically designed for bikes and walking,
yeah, thanks taxpayers,
I will ride on the sidewalk because there's so many a-holes that
you're an a-hole. You just became an a-hole, dude. Get off the sidewalk. That's not for you.
There's nobody walking on the sidewalk.
You're supposed to be up on the road, driving like a car.
Hey, he helped pay for the sidewalks too. So
See,
right, but
he could pick and choose.
Drive my car on the sidewalks.
If there's a bike lane, I'll use the bike lane. If there's no bike lane, I'm on the sidewalk because I don't want to get hit by some idiot that doesn't understand how to drive around a bicycle.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're afraid of getting knocked off by a car, then get up in there like you're a car and make them go around you. Make them slow down and go around you all the way. If you're hugging the grass as close as you can, they're gonna want to slip by you.
Right.
And that's when these accidents happen.
Right, and they're going to treat it like, well, I can just come over a foot or two, and I've got plenty of clearance.
They're going to think they have the right of way when you, as another vehicle, had the right of way. So you should treat yourself like another car.
And I remember going back even to like driver's ed. We talked about bicyclists, and bicyclists are supposed to follow the same rules of the road as vehicles.
Right. Stay off the sidewalk.
Right. But that gets a little troubling when you're on the highway.
And also when you've got people that just want to, try running everybody over. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls welcome. 855-450-FREE.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight is Darryl.
Chris.
Conan.
We talked
Chris,
about that.
You told me point to Conan one of these times.
And I waited.
And I did it.
I waited.
And he wasn't paying attention.
I was looking right at it, and I was
You
like,
went right back
what?
to me, and I was ready.
What? And we said, we told you, don't do this.
But first, y'all told me to do it.
No. It was my bad idea. I own it. We'll never do that again.
It's Darryl, Chris, and Conan. Chris has the bad ideas. Conan, well, I don't really know what I can say about
He thinks my
Conan.
bad ideas are a conspiracy.
But
I think bad ideas, if they are disobedient ideas, and everyone considers as bad, right? That's the first step.
Conan, we are doing something that you say I never do, and that is taking one of your show prep topics.
It's because we always start 20 minutes from the end of the show. Yeah. So this story comes from, where does it come from? Controversialtimes.com.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them either. This anti-gun pastor spent $3,000 to make sure he would win the softball team's raffle of an AR-15 rifle to have one less gun in the world is in hot water with the police. Reverend Jeremy Lucas spent $3,000 of his church discretionary fund. He's already wrong. He's already wrong in my book already.
Hold on. So did he have the approval of the board of the church to spend the money?
That doesn't come up in this article, but I would say probably not.
Okay,
but
so
it's quite possible. It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
I got another story, the same guy, but he may have violated Oregon law. But keep going.
So this guy spent $3,000 of the church discretionary fund, normally earmarked for helping parishioners pay their rent or utility bills, to buy 150 tickets in a raffle by a local softball team after hearing that the team was using the AR-15 raffle to pay for a trip to the West Regional Tournament in California. Quote, I think it sends very mixed messages, Lucas told the Washington Post. On the one hand, to have kids go through active shooter drills at school and at the same time raffle off rifles that are used in so many of these mass shootings. He said he felt compelled to act as a Christian, a father, and a church leader. Quote, I decided one day I was going to try to stop the raffle. His plan was to buy all the remaining tickets, win the rifle, and then have it destroyed. Quote, there are millions of guns, I know that, he said, but this gun will never be used to kill kids in school. Kill people in movie theaters, kill people at an officer party, or at another place of mass shootings. This gun will never be found by a child who accidentally shoots a friend. It will never be stolen and used to commit a crime or used to threaten a family in a domestic violence situation. After winning the raffle, the owner of the rifle met Reverend Lucas and his wife at a gun store to complete the background check required of any and all transfers inside the state of Oregon. The transfer took about 30 minutes, something Lucas found disturbing. I guess 30 minutes was, I would love a 30-minute transfer like that. Just get that thing over with. I was pretty surprised at how easy it was to get this transfer made, he said. How quickly it was to walk in and out of a gun shop with an AR-15. if you had a record, if you had any kind of record on it, he would have gotten it, or like the silly reporter who had was beating on his wife and had alcohol related problems in the past. He didn't get his rifle. The Reverend told the Washington Post that he and his wife then brought the rifle to home of a parishioner who would keep the rifle in his safe until they could have it destroyed. And that's where the police are now looking into a crime. By not performing a background check when leaving the rifle with his congregation member, Lucas violated the very gun control laws he claims are too lax in the nation. His local police department has turned the case over to the Oregon State Police, and they are currently deciding whether to file charges, which they probably won't.
I could just hear the hysteria. Oh, my God, these guns walking around on the street. I mean, it's like any minister could get a hold of a gun and give it to a parishioner. What kind of a world are we living in?
Lucas said he was surprised to learn of the investigation. Quote, I will cooperate with any investigation that the Oregon police wants to have, he told the Review. Anything that furthers the conversation about our gun laws in the state of Oregon, I'm happy that that would happen. Kevin Starrett, executive director of the Oregon Firearms Federation, wrote a letter to the OSP, the Lake Osagua Police Department, and 30 state lawmakers pointing out the clear violation of the law. He says, if the pastor is prosecuted, it will demonstrate the idiocy of the law and the people who passed it. Starrett said if the pastor is not persecuted, it will demonstrate the anti-gun liberals are above the law, and it was only intended to hurt the average gun owner against whom it could be selectively enforced.
Yep.
Nationally syndicated conservative talk show. I'm going to skip that. We don't need to talk about it.
Lars Larson says it sounds like a straw purchase to me.
Now, so two things real quickly. It's Oregon. It's a schwa. Oregon. Repeat after me. Oregon.
I only said it wrong once.
I know. I'm from Oregon, so that's one of those things that kills us. And it's Lake Oswego. This is interesting because I know exactly where this is. This is taking
and how
place.
are the gun laws there compared to say
Lake
here
Oswego,
in New Hampshire?
I've talked about Oregon before. Oregon, the western half, 1/3 is very, very, very liberal, and that's where Lake Oswego is. That's a suburb of Portland, a moneyed suburb. And the other, basically, 2/3 of the state is dry, high desert, and very dry and very conservative. So
desert, like wastelands, like no.
Where I grew up, we were considered semi-arid. So that meant that we got less than 10 or 12 inches of rain per year.
And it's also probably what they call the high desert.
Yes,
so
desert.
High elevation, not a lot of vegetation.
Yep.
Not necessarily sand, but just not a lot of vegetation.
Sagebrush and tumbleweeds.
Not Breaking Bad desert, more of a...
No, it's kind of hard. It's more your High Chaparral type old western desert.
Yeah, so like if you go out to northern Arizona, northern New Mexico, Albuquerque is more like south central New Mexico, I believe.
South central, yo.
Yeah, that's too far for me. I'm never going out there.
So speaking of, this preacher saying this is a gun that will never be used in, one of these murders, well, because he obtained this legally, the person he left it with did not. Then, had he kept possession of it, then yes, chances are it would never have been used in a crime. And there's actually evidence that shows that the vast majority of firearms that are used in crimes are not legally owned by the person that has them.
Oh, yeah.
There was a story recently by UPI where they actually found a report from somewhere in Pittsburgh, where they actually was the University of Pittsburgh that did the study, and they analyzed 762 crimes conducted by the analysis of 762 crimes conducted by the college's Graduate School of Public Health shows that nearly 80% of the crimes in which a gun was recovered by the Police Bureau of Police Firearm Tracking in 2008 alone, the perpetrator was not the lawful owner of the gun. That does not mean that there were 762 crimes in which a gun was used.
Right.
Just that in 762 crimes where the person that was arrested had possession of a firearm. And again, it could be, you ran a red light and you were in possession of, and we found that you had a warrant. 80% of those, the person that had the firearm was not the lawful owner of the gun. And the study further found that in just over 44% of the cases, they were unable to locate who the actual owner was, who the rightful or the lawful owner, and they had no clue how the person wound up coming in possession of the firearm.
Yeah, how many of those firearms had the serial number filed off of them?
Yeah,
which is
it does say that in 57.9% of the cases, there had been reports of a missing or stolen firearm. But again, vast majority of the time, perpetrator, criminal with a gun, they don't own it legally. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $4 higher at $1,362 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents lower at $20.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $575 US. Gold and silver have been quietly outperforming the stock market all this year. Perhaps it's time for you to diversify your savings. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Wego, Oregon. This guy took $3,000 from his church discretionary fund and bought 150 raffle tickets in the District 2 Big League Softball Team raffle. They were giving away an AR-15. He won said AR-15, went to whatever the FFL was, underwent a background check of some sort. It says 30 minutes later, it was so easy. I was only in there for 30 minutes. It's like going to Domino's. Blah, blah, blah. And then he got the firearm. And then he decided, I don't want to keep it at my house because reasons. So I'll give it to somebody that goes to my church and violate the Oregon firearm law that he supported. And so now he's facing charges.
This is correct. This is yesterday, and I was trying to find if there was any follow-ups on this. It is at the police organization's discretion to whether they're going to file charges against this guy. And, you know, I think one of the commenters brought up a really good point. You know, if they don't, this just proves that there are individuals out there who are, you know, above the law. And
you mean like Hillary Clinton?
Oh, well, of course, but I mean, even at our level, even here at the local level, you know.
Sure, and that's every.
Oh yeah, like the mayor.
Yes, just like the mayor,
or the mayor, or the city council, or the minister who happens to preside over the mayor's church or whatever it happens to be. I mean, it'll just go down this path. I mean,
but there is a penalty of 10 years if, you know, this guy is found guilty.
And also a possible fine of $6,200.
This is where I would employ the Hillary Clinton defense and say, I had no criminal intent. Therefore, you must let me off of all charges.
And that's what he'll use.
Probably does not matter. And again, there's a lot of statutes where the word intent is nowhere in statute. So you don't have to have intent to violate the thing. You just have to have willfully acted. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of reading statute for fun. You know some of these weird things. But yeah, that is something to where, you know, there are several different variants of mindset, if you will. So there's willful blah, blah, blah. There's negligent blah, blah, blah. There's intent. And then I forget what the other one is. But they all have various mindsets. So if you're walking down the street and you just go ahead and walk across the street, doesn't matter that the light's red, the don't walk sign is lit, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, there's no cars, you walked across the street. You willfully walked across the street. It doesn't matter if you intended to violate the jaywalking ordinance or statute. Yeah. You willfully walked across the street. So therefore, guilty.
So back to our good minister here. I mean,
pastor.
I grew up in the Episcopal Church, and
pastors are
called them reverends.
Pastors are Baptists, okay. And
he is referred in the Portland Tribune article. They do refer to him as Reverend Jeremy Lucas.
That would be proper for an Episcopal priest. So, it's an interesting take, though. Okay, I really want to get guns off the street. I don't want them to fall into the wrong hands. So maybe perhaps every anti-gun person out there should just go buy tens of thousands of dollars worth of firearms.
This is
why not? I mean, this is setting a good example. Go out, pick your ARs, and I will say it's going to be much more affordable for you because this guy bought $3,000 in raffle tickets. You can get a sub-$1,000 AR. It's a nice platform. It's going to shoot the same bullet. It's going to shoot just as fast. It's going to do all those things. $800. That's a reasonable price for an AR. You could even go less than that. He could have got 3 guns off the street if he just would have gone and bought them.
Chris, this is a great argument for everything that government does. If you want the homeless downtown to be fed, you should put your pocketbook where your mouth is and go feed them. Don't go lobby government to have them fed on the taxpayers' dime. Same thing with the schools. If you think that everyone should go to a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter school, learning some Common Core bull, then put your pocketbook, your wallet, where your mouth is and fork out the money. But to force everyone else to jump on the same bandwagon, that's where the problem comes. That's where same situation here. If you want guns gone, go buy them all.
I'm going to sort of play devil's advocate here for just a second.
Don't sorta, do it.
And
full on, 100%.
And say that the only thing that I think that should be investigated is whether or not the $3,000 that he spent on raffle tickets was an authorized expense from the church.
That was in my notes, my mental notes, because that was the one thing that struck me, that he just decided to use this discretionary fund. And did he get permission from the folks?
Well, I mean, the term is discretionary. So if it's discretionary,
right, but is it discretion of
it's
the
for
no. Or is it the discretion of the board?
It was for rent and utilities to help poor people, to help the poor individuals to help the poor parishioners.
And this poor preacher wanted to get a gun off the streets.
But that's none of my business. That has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with anything.
I hope they fire this guy. I hope the parishioners throw this guy out of their church.
Well, that's up to them. And if they have a board, I'm trying to think of what do you call the board in a church?
The board.
Well, it depends on the makeup of the church.
The Episcopalians had a term for it.
Would it be deacons?
Well, they're calling this guy. They're calling him a pastor. They're calling him a reverend. I don't know which one's which anymore. And my churchology is all off tonight because I've been.
They're basically the same thing, but reverend. And I hate using the term, because it basically, the etymology of the word means one who is to be revered. He's a man just like you and me. He's not to be revered any more than anybody else.
Well, this is the church. If you look at the makeup and the background of the church, it's just like government. It's just a way of controlling the folks. So it is to be revered. It's basically calling him the king.
And you guys have every right to be against organized religion or the church, and anybody involved in organized religion. And the church has every right to do that. That's one of those issues where it comes up, and I'm just like, sorry, guys, nobody's forcing you at gunpoint to go join a church and follow the rules. If they want to do it, be my guest.
Unless it's Scientology.
But I think the question that you bring up, it's not to me, it should absolutely not be a legal question. It should be a question for whatever board or whatever group of people, even if it's just the parishioners, that this reverend reports to.
Yeah, that's why I said his parishioners should fire this fool.
But that's not for us to say. It's not for us.
I'm just saying they should. I'm not saying I never said throw the book at him, throw the law.
Yeah. But even then,
but if he stole money, then that's a crime.
Well, that's up to the parishioners to decide. So first they got to decide if it was stolen.
And then they got to decide if they want to do anything.
And if it is discretionary, and he does have discretionary
power, right?
Right. They have to make the decision: was this inside or outside the scope of what decisions he can make? And I would say it's probably outside, because it's meant for helping the actual churchgoers. This is an outside agenda with bias. This is his own bias. It doesn't have anything to do with helping the church members.
Well, in one article I read, and I don't have it here handy, but he basically said the outpouring of support from my parish has been overwhelming. And in that area, geographically, I'll use some generalizations. My apologies to any conservatives who might be listening and live in Lake Oswego, but it is kind of a liberal area. It is what it is. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of his parishioners would support him.
He'll probably get an award.
Probably
get a medal.
Yeah, and I'm trying to read this 20-page law that he supposedly violated, and it's a bunch of just gobbledygook.
20 pages of you cannot give a gun to someone who doesn't own the gun.
Well, there are exceptions, so you can give it to a spouse or a domestic partner or a child or a parent or a grandparent or a grandchild or an aunt or an uncle or a first cousin. Not a second cousin, not a first cousin first removed. You can also give it to a niece or a nephew or the spouse.
Darryl, I think this is a prime.
Domestic partner.
I think this is a prime example of a law that could fit on an index card, just as you said, as you quoted.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, but if you try to boil this down too much,
and you know what it is? It's not to be infringed. Done.
Yep. Your thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road underground market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, August 4th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.41 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,362 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $584. Antiwar.com reports Hezbollah deputy leader Naim Qassam, interviewed by Reuters, says that the ongoing wars in Iraq and Syria still have no ends in sight, and that the partition of both Iraq and Syria could ultimately result from the open-ended conflict. Qassam insisted that Hezbollah, Iran, and Russia would all remain on Assad's side until the end, and that he believes Assad is the best choice to keep Syria whole. At the same time, U.S. officials remain determined to see Assad ousted, but also want Syria and Iraq to both remain as whole countries. There appears to be growing recognition that this may not happen, however, with CIA Director John Brennan insisting over the weekend that he's got no confidence it's even possible for Syria to avoid partition at this time. The U.S. has repeatedly rejected proposals that would see more regional autonomy within Syria, one plan to keep it nominally whole. U.S. officials aren't as willing to discuss the partition in Iraq as the result of the current war, but many officials have expressed support for Iraqi Kurdistan's eventual independence, which may reflect an effort to mention the possibility, at least somewhat. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports a Virginia school board may temporarily block a student who was born a girl from using the boys' bathroom while a legal fight over transgender rights proceeds on appeal, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. The case is the first time the fight over transgender bathroom rights has reached the Supreme Court. The subject arrived in the heat of a U.S. presidential election in which the makeup of the court is a central issue. In a brief order, the country's highest court put on hold an order from a lower court that had permitted the high school student to use the bathroom of his choice. Last year, the American Civil Liberties Union sued on behalf of Gavin Grimm, who is 17, to challenge the Gloucester County School Board's bathroom policy, which required transgender students to use alternative restroom facilities. The 8-member Supreme Court voted 5-3 to stay the lower court's order. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan would have denied the school board's request that it be able to block a student from exercising a choice in the use of bathroom, according to the order. The order was not a final ruling on the subject. Instead, it rewound the fight to where it was in April before a federal appeals court in Richmond, Virginia, which ruled in Grimm's favor. That ruling by the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals was the first by an appeals court to find that transgender students are protected under federal laws that bar sex-based discrimination. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports President Barack Obama on Wednesday granted more requests for clemency for U.S. prisoners than any presidential administration had done in more than a century, according to the White House. Obama commuted the sentences of 214 prisoners, the most in a single day, according to the White House, since at least 1900. The number also makes Obama the most clemency-friendly president since Calvin Coolidge. Wednesday's orders are part of a 2014 Justice Department initiative to free thousands of American prisoners who are serving long sentences for nonviolent drug crimes due to mandatory minimum guidelines in federal law. The measure seeks to shorten prison terms for offenders who would be given lighter sentences for the same crimes under today's laws. Obama's action gives new life to 67 prisoners who had been serving life sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. For example, Maryland inmate Marston Edward Blue was given a life term in 2002 after a conviction on a charge of conspiracy with intent to distribute, aiding and abetting, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Now his sentence will expire on December 1st. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An amateur sailor has announced his plans to sail around the world to decrease awareness of important global issues. 29-year-old Michael Gilmer will cover approximately 28,000 nautical miles over 3 months, all the while drawing attention away from famine afflicting several African nations, revolution in the Middle East, flooding in Thailand, and economic instability across 5 continents.
The goal here is to really make people think about a young, overconfident on an expensive boat, rather than the pressing matters of substance that actually affect people's lives.
As Gilmer set off on his journey Thursday, something was happening in Washington. In local news, a cute 8-year-old is beginning to realize how much better she is than ugly girls.
Since I'm cute and they're not, that means that they're not as good as me.
In other news, a slaughterhouse worker is told to stop naming them all. And sure, an area man can watch your cat while his life is falling apart, no problem. You have just participated in a large-scale psychological research study. Please fill out the attached liability waiver and send it to theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
Kicking off hour number 3. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts are welcome about pretty much whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
Conan.
And Chris.
Now you're just trying to confuse everybody. It's Darryl, Chris, and Conan with those voices belonging to the opposite individuals. And we're going to change things up a little bit and actually go to a story that we teased on the after show of Free Talk Live last night. So Yes, there every now and then is an after show. So go to freetalklive.com to listen to the archive of last night and hear the after show. So talking about, again, we're changing directions here. Going to talk about helicopter parents.
Wait, what?
Helicopter parents.
Is this parents who throw their kids up in the air as far as they can and catch them?
No, and it's also not parents that throw their children out of helicopters, and it's not parents that raise their children in helicopters. Helicopter parents are, well, let me just jump into the article because they do kind of explain here. They say that helicopter parents are this generation, meaning the millennials and whatever is younger than millennials. It's the worst nightmare for these people. From stalking your internet history to calling you every 5 minutes when you're away at a party in a friend's house, we all know what it's like when mom and dad tend to be just a little too overprotective and cross the invisible line that invades our privacy. Being concerned for your child's welfare and safety is one thing, but putting their lives on 24/7 surveillance and dictating their every choice and controlling their every move is another. Helicopter parenting takes it to a whole new level, using the time-tested excuse that elders know what's best for their children. This actually does way more harm than good. As per a 2013 study involving 297 students, published in the Journal of Child and Family Studies, college students with helicopter parents reported significantly higher levels of depression and less satisfaction in life, and attributed this decrease in well-being to a violation of the basic psychological, or rather physiological, needs for autonomy and competence. Academically overbearing parents may not only force their children to take up a major that they have no interest in or talent for doing, but plan their every career choice, leaving no room for voicing their own desires.
So is this also like the obsession over extracurricular activities, or is this specific
to some extent?
Okay.
Yeah, like sports. And
right.
You're going to do this.
You got to play the piano.
Right.
You got to
little honey boo boo. You want to do this.
You want to be a
model thing because remember yesterday you said you wanted to. So you want to do this. You're going to go do this because if you don't do it, well, mommy's going to be really sad.
Yeah. That stuff drives me nuts. And I've just did a little bit of research in this. It seems like it was first coined in about 1990, but it really does. It's kind of embrace the baby boomer generation and Generation Y dealing with the millennial children. I saw this firsthand. I did a little bit of like soccer coaching and stuff like that, and that just really made me rethink how I work with my son. You know, it was like, oh man, I don't want to be that guy.
You saw parents who were overprotective, or you found yourself.
It was nuts. I mean, yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, sometimes the dad had come up to the little league coach afterwards and go,
you're not playing little Johnny enough.
Well,
little Johnny needs to play first base, not center field.
No, I remember those arguments saying, with a parent going, I've been working with him a lot, and I really think you might want to give him a try at first base.
Mm-hmm.
It was that sort of thing. It's like, I've taken an interest in something he's interested in, and we've worked on something specific, and the coach would say, yeah, we'll try it in practice, stuff like that. But now it is, how come he's not getting equal playing time? How come he's not getting as much opportunities to kick a goal as everybody else? And I remember one soccer game, and it was crazy out of hand because, even though there weren't supposed to be any scores, I was all out to win it, and our kids were too, but that meant we played some of our better players.
Well, I coached 4 seasons of soccer for my daughter's teams, and we were competitive.
Good.
And I never had any parents come up to me and say, hey, look, could you move little Sally around because she's not doing so well in this position at all? But I was also very, like I said, I was very competitive, and I think I had a very good eye for where the kids are supposed to go and all. But
and you were also coaching soccer, and no offense against soccer, but in the United States, soccer's kind of that throwaway sport of, well, my kid wants to play something, and I don't want them playing football because they might get hurt.
I disagree. That is like the new Little League and everything else.
And by the way, if you want this is why I hate football, because it is the sport where you do get hurt where you shouldn't. You actually have more situations where you should hurt yourself in soccer, but because you don't have all the stupid padding on, you get out of that situation.
Right, you're not taking the extra risk. You're
aware No, you are taking the risk, but you're jumping out of it. You're not just clashing into somebody.
So in football, people are like, oh, I've got the helmets and the shoulder pads, and then they'll just like leap at somebody.
Because they're supposed to.
No, you're not supposed to leap at somebody to tackle them.
No,
you're supposed to wrap your arms around them at like mid-level. You're not supposed to dive and leap. That's how you get hurt.
Yeah.
So in soccer, somebody's not leaping. Oh, they're about to score, so I'm going to leap at them with my cleats.
Because, and also it's illegal. You're not supposed to do it.
Unless
you want to get a foul and get kicked off.
Leaping and hitting somebody with your helmet is also a penalty in football, but people do it anyway because they think, I'm not going to get hurt. I've got all these pads.
Okay, well, this is 2005, 6, 7 area, and I never saw it. But we were very competitive, and we won a lot of games. But when I was on the softball team or baseball team or whatever, when I was a kid, I did experience it, and that was in early 80s, mid 80s. So, I mean, a long time ago. And I experienced, I'm going to call them umbrella parents. I don't like helicopter. The overshadowing umbrella parents who came out and like, why aren't you playing my son? You got to give him a chance to play or he's never going to learn. Which is a good argument, by the way. But
and the reason they use the term helicopter parents is because they hover over the children.
Oh, I get that.
Like a helicopter. An umbrella you have to hold. Like an umbrella can't just float over top of your head
unless you have one of those hat umbrellas. But you know what? And so this is mid 80s. This is mid 80s, and guess what we all got? Regardless of how we played, we all got trophies.
And a juice box.
We all got trophies. And I remember getting my first one, and I looked at my dad, and I'm like, I took it home. He's like, "Why'd you get that? What'd you do?" No, I don't know. I guess I don't. It just gave me one.
What, were you on the winning team?
No,
Did you win a championship?
It was everyone got a participation award, and there was no. We won the championship award.
Okay, I got a story I got to tell just because it's about soccer and it's about nothing else we're talking about. But I grew up in a very, very, very small town in eastern Oregon, and we played. We go to phys ed. You'd play. We play basketball or we'd do something or things like that. We had a phys ed teacher that wanted us to play soccer, but here's the fun part. He had no idea what the rules of soccer were.
So you just played kickball.
No. He sort of made it up, I think.
Which, by the way, is one of my favorite sports is kickball with the baseball with a big orange or big red
But here
ball.
were some of the general rules. The gameplay began in the center of the field with the ball there and everybody around it. And then, like, on the count of 3, we would all storm into the center and try to kick it. You could hit the ball. There's no hands in soccer, but you could hit it with a closed fist. And the only contact that was allowed, like in football, was below the waist. So you could block. You could take somebody out.
Interesting.
So it's all well and good until I go to summer camp one year and somebody says, "Do you want to play soccer?" I'm like,
so
sure.
You tackle them.
This is Free Talk Live. Your thoughts welcome on helicopter parents or made-up sports. 855-450-FREE.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
Do you know that good digestion is your body's first line of defense? Millions of Americans suffer from poor digestion. It shows up in the form of heartburn, acid reflux, GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, and many other symptoms. Healthy digestion relies on armies of friendly bacteria. These good bugs keep bad bugs in check. Probimune, a new, uniquely developed probiotic, is scientifically proven to get to your gut and deliver the benefits of improved digestion. Probimune is an immune system booster and a digestive health enhancer. It's simple to use, and most importantly, you will feel Probimune working, soothing, and relaxing the gut. Get yours today by visiting younghealth.com or call 800-396-9024. Again, that's 800-396-9024. Use coupon code DIGEST to receive 15% off your first order.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free. We're talking about helicopter parents, and then that sort of sidetracked to made up sports about how Chris thought you played soccer where you could body check people and hit the ball with a closed fist. We'll get back to the helicopter parents, but I want to ask you to do something. When you go to bed tonight, I want you to concentrate on the position of your head and neck. In a lot of cases, chronic headaches, neck aches, or even back pain can be solved with the right pillow. Your spine should be straight and parallel to the floor, and My Pillow is designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it for a couple of months, and I can say that it is absolutely the best pillow that I've ever used. This pillow is absolutely amazing. You can throw it in the washing machine, you can dry it, and unlike most pillows, this thing is ready to be used again. It doesn't turn into a big pile of trash. When's the last time you did that with one of your regular pillows? Can you imagine how much stuff is on there? Dust mites, dead skin, etc. Don't worry, I have the solution. Go to mypillow.com and buy a pillow. Don't worry about not liking it. Don't worry about it not being as good as I say it is, because there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. And the pillow itself is guaranteed to last for 10 years. So go to mypillow.com, use code FTL. That allows you to get a second pillow absolutely free. mypillow.com, code FTL.
And one more thing on that, Darryl. This is a sort of an added benefit that Colleen and I have experimented with.
Colleen being your significant other.
Significant other.
Is it going to get saucy?
It's not going to get saucy, but it is going to be snoring. After
so when she's snoring, you can take your third pillow
and put it over her head. No, I snore, she snores.
We do
both
not
snore.
advocate you suffocate your partner with your extra My Pillow that you have bought using code FTL.
But we have found out that if we sleep with our heads on the pillow dead center, whether that's laying on our back or laying on our sides, the snoring seems to stop, whatever it's doing to hold our head in that position. And that's been an ongoing issue between us for 15 years.
So favorite, you guys are bringing up like made-up sports that I've never heard of. Have you at least heard of the kickball?
Yeah.
You play it like you play it like baseball.
Yeah.
Except you roll the ball out and you kick it instead of hitting it with a bat or whatever.
Yes.
As you heard
and
that.
I do not suggest that you hit a large ball with a baseball bat. And I have a broken nose to show why. So when I was a kid, and I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air before.
I've never heard it, so talk away.
But
Tell
when
away.
I was probably about 12 or 13, I was playing baseball with some of the kids in the neighborhood, and I hit the baseball down into the storm drain. And the little skinny kid that was able to fit down there and crawl in and crawl back out, he got tired of going in to get the ball. And he was like, I'm not getting it. And so the guy that we were playing at his house...
That's where the clowns live. You got to watch it.
I don't know anything about clowns.
Do you float? Do you float, Bobby? Go ahead.
I have absolutely no clue what you're talking about.
They're remaking that film, by the way, and you'll love it.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Go ahead. Tell us about your broken nose.
Okay, broken nose.
So the guy Robert Roberts Jr. That was his actual name.
Sounds like
first name Robert, last name Roberts.
Okay.
And he was a junior.
He's going to be a good lawyer.
He goes into his garage and he comes out with a hippity hop. That's the big giant ball that's maybe like 18 inches with the little handle on it. He was like, the only ball I could find is this one. And I was like, all right, pitch it to me. And so he pitched it to me. And it was high and inside where, like you would want a baseball to be. And so I swung and I hit it. And the ball pushed the bat into my face. And the ball then hit me in the face. And then the ball bounced away. And the bat fell and hit the ball and then bounced back and hit me in the face again. And if you look closely, you will see that my nose goes ever so slightly to the left, and a metal baseball bat fits perfectly at an angle along the nose and eye portion of my face on the right side.
Would have been
occipital cavity.
Would have been
interesting.
Would have been YouTube gold.
Yeah,
if only.
And so then I fell in slow motion, or at least I think it was slow motion. I really don't know. And next thing I know, his mom's standing over top of me asking what happened, and I tried telling her, and it came out as and there was just blood gushing out of my nose. And so, we got the bleeding stopped. My next door neighbor was a paramedic, and he wasn't home at the time, but he came home a couple hours later, and I told him what happened in actual
and he laughed.
words.
And he said, I can try to reset that for you.
Right.
But it might hurt a little bit. And I was like, all right. And then he just barely touched. And I was like, no, do not touch me. I will punch you. And he was a very big guy. So if I did hit him, it probably wouldn't have hurt. But it was just, don't do this. And so he's like, all right, yeah, it's kind of already started to set. So I'll have to re-break it. And I was like, yeah, no, it hurt too much when you just barely touched it.
So why don't you have an Owen Wilson nose? How did it get fixed? The proper way? In the hospital?
No, it didn't hit me flat on the nose. It hit the side.
Right. So it's a little off. It's not like an Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Well, you know how you won't break your nose?
Swimming into the side of a swimming pool, which I did, and it actually broke on the top a little bit.
This guy in his concussions and broken noses. You're not going to break your nose playing. Well, I guess you could if you really tried, but playing Ultimate Frisbee, and that was my favorite made-up game.
Yeah,
love some Ultimate Frisbee.
Not a made-up game. There's actually like Ultimate Frisbee leagues. But
it was made
don't.
up. When because I think it was made up when I was a kid.
In the 70s.
And it eventually evolved into what it is now.
But I'll tell you how you do not wind up getting hurt, at least physically, and that is if you have a helicopter parent. But there are negative consequences of having or being a helicopter parent, lifelong, potentially deadly consequences. The article that we're going over has some of those side effects. If you are a helicopter parent or if you had a helicopter parent, it will kill your child's confidence. Overparenting may be advertised as leading the child to success, but in reality, it paves the way for a hassle-free one-way trip to hell. A child who grows up with parents who do everything for him lack the proper decision-making skills required to face life. One learns from one's mistakes, but the helicopter parent will not allow her precious little one to ever make a wrong move, and as a result, the child never learns how to do the right thing.
And they always get a trophy.
Without proper experience, kids never learn to trust their own abilities and choices, and their self-confidence level drops. This manifests in social anxiety, withdrawal, and low self-esteem. And that's, they're trying to compensate for the low self-esteem by giving everybody a trophy that is then absolutely meaningless.
Yep.
Much like a high school diploma and soon to be a college degree is absolutely meaningless.
Already a college degree.
We'll go over some of these other deadly side effects of helicopter parents and your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Feens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about helicopter parents. Are you one? Did you have one? Well, there are some dangerous, possibly deadly side effects of being a helicopter parent, and we're going over these. According to research, they found that helicopter parents absolutely kill their child's confidence. They wind up causing social anxiety, withdrawal, and low self-esteem. And Conan, you had mentioned that, well, they give everybody the participation award. They give them trophies, and that's to help build up the shattered self-esteem that the helicopter parenting winds up causing. It's kind of like government, to where they create a problem and then they create something to try to fix the problem that winds up making the problem worse.
Yeah, they put a Band-Aid on it and it doesn't actually fix the problem at all. You're right. And yeah,
to quote Taylor Swift, my future ex-wife, Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes.
My biggest concern is that it prevents competition. Which I find, which is why a lot of the reasons I do the things that I do is because I find that competition is good. Good for the body, good for the soul, good for everything. And
you're talking about the give everybody a participation thing prevents competition.
Yeah, it's like, why play the game?
It's teaching a bad lesson. It's teaching that regardless of how well you do or how hard you try,
we're all supposed to be equal.
We'll be equal. It is completely socialist thought, and this goes back decades,
right?
Decades.
And we are not, as human beings, as animals, we are not programmed to think like that. We're not ants. We're not bees. We're humans who have a competitive nature to us, and it actually gives us a reason to wake up in the morning. If there's no competition, if there's no game involved, if there's no challenge, then you're going to have people that's going to be couch sleepers. They're going to go live back. They're going to go back to mom and dad's house, and they're going to sleep in the basement.
Right, and that's the point. The point here, as is so often the case, it's a way of pushing control. If you have people that always expect to win or will love you because they were rewarded by you for something, you know what I mean? Then you have a level of control over them. It's evil. don't know how, because I had these conversations a lot when I was raising my son. It's like, no, this isn't doing them a favor. This is injuring them. This is using force against them in a way that's not going to be good later on in life.
I'm going to say they don't love you more for giving them more awards. I'm going to say they lose respect for you
after a while.
Very
when they
quickly.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, that isn't necessarily touched on in this article where they do cite a study, but something else that happens in addition to killing the child's confidence and causing lower self-esteem, well, what goes along with low self-esteem? Depression, which is inevitable, and something that goes hand in hand with that is suicide is possible.
And opioid epidemic in our country? Maybe.
I don't know how many opiate addicts are on opiates because of depression. That seems to be very speculative.
I'm saying that people who love it and can't get off of it, they don't see anything better to do with themselves. Some people will do drugs recreationally. They'll go to work and they just want to, go to sleep tonight. They want to have a good time with their friends or whatever. And some people, they don't love themselves and they don't love life.
You're actually jumping forward a little bit and sort of conflating depression with something else. So
escapism.
Let me get to that. But they do say that college students with helicopter parents reported significantly higher levels of depression and less satisfaction with life. And instead of teaching children how to live, parents end up providing a crash course on how to die. Next, they say that the child can't cope with real-world problems, and that goes hand in hand with the drug use and drug abuse, is you're looking for that escape. Helicopter parents will tend to forget that they cannot protect their child forever. Without constant monitoring of an anxious mom or dad, the son is then unable to fend for himself, and performing simple day-to-day tasks becomes impossible. Such people are also vulnerable and run a high risk of being cheated, for they have absolutely no idea what to do when everything is in their hands. The well-protected child is absolutely powerless to navigate the thorny paths of reality. And yes, I do think that, because of that, they do tend to be like, I need something to escape.
Right. I wonder how many lives Pokemon Go has saved.
I don't know, but we do know a couple of people that came very close to death because of Pokemon Go when they fell off of the cliff.
Or getting run over.
You know what? I think I'm with you on this, is that Pokemon Go, for all the insanity that it's filled the news with, I'm like, somebody actually came up with something to get people with a smartphone out of their chairs. They're
getting exercise.
Yeah.
And them idle hands no longer idle. They're not doing devil's work. They're out there collecting the virtual monsters.
The thing that I think is funny is that Pokemon Go was built over top of an existing game. It was built over top of Ingress that had been around for several years.
Which didn't do
that did not catch on like the electronic version of herpes.
Right. But but sometimes that's what it takes. There were many social networks before there was Facebook. And until Facebook came along, then that was like the one that it kind of blew past MySpace and everything else.
Everybody was on MySpace, and when I got invited to Facebook, I was like, why do I need Facebook? MySpace works.
You know what's crazy is that when it was first introduced to me many, many years ago, I was like, it's like only old people on this thing. My mom is on it. I don't have
Facebook?
On what, MySpace?
No, Facebook.
You must have been late to the game.
MySpace was the cool cats.
Yeah.
But I left it when it was actually starting to turn more into a musical destination for music for bands.
Oh yeah, so you were probably the last non-musical act to be on MySpace.
No, actually my band was on it.
Did you turn off the lights when you left MySpace? Yeah, no, I think it's cool, and you're right. It was built on something, but that just shows that the message has to be exactly right.
But so we're talking about these helicopters because I wonder if this is exactly what these poor children need to break out of their shells.
Is Helicopter Parents?
No, Pokemon
something
Go.
like Pokemon Go, but there always has to be something that's going to hit. We're never going to know what it is. It's going to capture the imagination of people, and it's going to motivate them in some way. And I love it. And I'm not one of those guys that busts on things like that. I think it's cool as hell. And there've been a lot of other things that were sort of silly, but ended up being useful to society.
Yep.
And lastly, helicopter parents wind up teaching children that all relationships will turn sour. We'll jump into this possibly in the final segment here in just a couple of moments. But first, your calls. We've got Tom calling in from Baltimore. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. I agree with you on the dependency issue. I think it actually robs people of ultimately their individualism, their freedom.
Yeah.
Because when they become dependent, I think they're deluding themselves that they're actually not dependent. I think it's hard to see. It kind of sneaks up on people, and by the time you realize it, you're hooked. So I think you make some great points.
But by the time they probably never realize it, but then before you know it, they're off making their own children, and of course they learn bad habits from their parents, and so it's just they spread it to the next generation, and now you're in a real hole.
Absolutely. Tom, thanks for the call. Your calls and thoughts are welcome in the closing moments of this episode of Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we're on Skype. Username is LRN.FM. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still time for you in these closing moments, possibly if you call in right now. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Conan,
and Chris.
And you guys are goofing your names up again, I think just trying to confuse me, but in reality you're confusing everybody.
It's that easy.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Snake Eater calling in from Indiana. Snake Eater, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, thanks a lot, gentlemen. I listen daily. I appreciate your show. I want to just follow up on Hung's call. So I've heard Hung call in the past, and although I don't remember the topic, I remember his name, and I remember it was insightful. So I really hope that he can think of some examples of microaggressions and call back. And the reason is because I since I respect his opinion, I looked it up to see what they were, and all I saw in some of these major websites were like examples of either flagrant acts of racism that were considered examples of microaggressions, or they were weak examples that sounded more like they were studies in human nature or something, like how people collectively get together.
Well, what do you mean by microaggression?
Well, that's what he called subtle aggression. And when I looked up subtle aggression, it gave me microaggression.
Actually, he said subtle racism, not subtle aggression.
I looked up subtle racism, and this is what you find when you research it online. And granted, it was only 15 to 30 minutes. But also, he did say that in that, he said, and I respect him, by the way, so I really want his opinion, but or at least what he said in the past. But also, he did say that white people can't handle these subtle racist microaggressions. He said that. He's like, they were so subtle and so pernicious, essentially, that we couldn't even handle them. And after I looked them up, I thought, well, I can handle
that's kind of racist.
So what are some of the things that you came across?
Okay, so some of the examples were someone in a line, maybe for a Hispanic woman and a white woman, waiting to get at a bakery, and the attendant neglects or acts as if the Mexican woman is not there, although she was there first. And as soon as a white woman walks in, they immediately go to the white woman and go to her first. Well, the way I was raised, if I was standing there first, I'd be like, no, well, this woman was here first. And most people would do that.
Most
and
people would.
Moreover, that's like an outright, that's racism. If I watched that, I'd be like, whoa, she was first. Like, I wouldn't even probably see it as racism. Maybe that's his point.
Yeah, I would see it as an a-hole move.
If I were working the counter, I'd be like, who's next?
But I've actually run a register, and I've seen people do that, and I stopped the show, and I'm like, hey, look, man, that lady was next. I need to, you need to get back out.
Yeah, or you're more assertive. I've been in bars where I was probably more assertive in asking for my drink or something like that, and somebody else has been waiting, and if I get their attention, I'll say, you need to wait on that person.
Yeah, bar is different, though. If you're in a line and someone just cuts right in front of you, I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, but I've seen it from tending bar too.
But I can see someone of color seeing some a-hole who is not racist. He's just an a-hole doing just that, and then reaching for racist motivation.
But there may be one there too. You know?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I'm not going to discount it either way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A lot of them are examples. When you look at it, you're like, man, that is just so hard to look at it and think that this incident is racism. And moreover, like there's signs of like how people like kind of understand the world and how it works, and that's how people react and work together. Anyway, I would like to hear what he had to say. And moreover, I am an amplifier, and I called on your line, and since 8 o'clock, and I didn't get through. I wanted you guys to know that. But when I called, I was able to hear you guys in the background in your breaks, and I just want to let you know that. And you brought up being raised. You were talking about in the 80s and being growing up and some of the games you played and stuff like that. But think about it. How were we all raised? We're all from different places. We're all about the same age. And all I know is that when I was raised in my house, we discussed things like black relations and things like that. And, my parents were strictly harsh or harshly critical, of any disparagement against any person. And I wonder, were other people of color, like we were discussing black relations, so I wonder, were black people of our same generation, same age, when they sat down and discussed this, did their parents tell them, you will not discriminate, or did they, I don't know, or did they say things like, the white people have been slaveholders and this, and they are not good people, don't trust them, so on and so forth. And if they did, then there's a lot of people that were raised a lot different than I was, that was, you treat every person like you would want to be treated, and if you don't, man, it was strict.
I can say from I am probably a different generation than a lot of the hosts on here and a lot of the listeners, but I'm in my 50s, and absolutely growing up in the 60s and 70s in a small town in a very, very rural area, yeah, there was a lot of blatant racism, which didn't make a lot of sense to me because we didn't have anybody. There were no black people. It was a lily white area. It's like
they didn't know what they were talking about.
Right.
We were kids.
It didn't keep them from making the comments.
Right. Most people that are racist are absolutely ignorant and have absolutely no experience around the people that they absolutely don't like. I've known racists that, they'll use the N-word, but then they'll be like, oh, well, this guy, he's not like the rest of them. So that they judge everybody, but then people of the group that they don't like, they then judge those people as individuals because, well, that's what they are. So I think that the vast majority of people that are racist are just absolutely ignorant. Snake Eater, thank you for the call.
I'm going to have to, I work with a black gentleman. He's half my age, and we are constantly throwing back and forth racial connotations that we're playing around with it. And so, and just the other day, I gave him the eyebrow because he threw a paper into the trash and missed it. And then I brought up the, you can't shoot. Aren't you black? Why can't you shoot? And we both got it. And we both, we both loved it and laughed, and we went and had a beer afterwards. So, I mean, and the whole you people thing,
subtle racism from Conan.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to go talk to him on Monday now. I'm going to have to ask him, like, hey, look, man, I'm joking, right? And how many of your brothers and sisters don't understand where I'm coming from, and I need to check my privilege because I guess it's out there. But I mean, I
check your privilege, Conan, and let's go to Rudy calling in from Arizona. Rudy, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey guys, a while ago when Conan introduced himself as Chris and Chris introduced himself as Conan, it confused me for a second.
Yeah, they were trying to confuse people. They thought they were playing a joke on Darryl.
We're only trying to confuse Darryl. My apologies.
I told you guys you were going to confuse everybody.
I heard somebody, security expert on the, and he brought up the fact that people that do the terms and agreement when you accept Pokemon Go, that you basically sell away your rights to your complete phone, your email, your contacts, everything like that. It's not the NSA that can get into your information on your phone.
It's Google.
Somebody else.
It's Google, right?
It's Niantic, which is the company that made Pokemon Go. They also made Ingress, which was the game that Pokemon Go was built over top of. And yeah, they do say that they want to access your contacts, your camera, your speaker, your this, your that. So basically, every function of the phone they want access to. And right, the question you're going to ask is
how many apps and games have already done that?
And it's a lot. But people don't wind up paying attention until it's something that 11 million people download in 3 days. And then they're like, oh, look at all the stuff that you're giving permission to.
There's a whole South Park episode based on this whole premise. It's called,
I knew this was coming.
It's called South Park episode about everything.
Because South Park is
Conan.
on the ball. They are on the ball, and just watch them. They're good to go.
Do people other than you still watch that?
A lot of people watch it. They're still making them, so of course people watch them.
I know they're still making it, but that doesn't mean people watch it.
Darryl, having a conversation with you about media, you just watched Princess Bride for the first time ever. Don't talk to me about media. At least
people watch it just like people have been watching The Simpsons for 20 years. People have been watching South Park since the beginning. All right, later, guys.
Thank you for the call, Rudy. And well, I would love to jump back into the tail end of this article on helicopter parenting, but, well, we're out of time.
I don't hear the music. Yeah, helicopter parents, stop doing it. Let your parents live.
Let your children.
Let them get scraped up. You know, if they're going to put their hand in the fire, that's when hey, don't do that. But let them get out there and get dirt on them.
Maybe you need to, you tell them once fire hurts, you see them reach for the fire. All right. I told you didn't want to listen. Go ahead.
Maybe not fire.
Go ahead.
Maybe not fire.
You didn't want to listen when I said fire hurts. You learned for yourself, and you ain't going to do it again. But what you can do again is listen to Free Talk Live at freetalklive.com. We'll be back tomorrow.
Hi, folks. GetTheTea.com is the place where the popular Life Change tea calls home. But did you know Get the Tea is also where you can purchase GMO-free organic supplements? You can read about their potent power at GetTheTea.com. Also, they just added a YouTube channel called Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Education about our health can be a life change. Maybe that's why our famous tea is called Life Change Tea. Learn about the trees for life. Our supplements have no fillers, no wheat, no rice, no garbage. And our tea is wow to the body. Make a conscious health change. Educate yourself on the most powerful essence of life, which is your health. You want more? Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Or visit our YouTube channel at Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. And don't forget our fabulous mild detox tea at GetTheTea.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $4 higher at $1,362 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents lower at $20.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $575 US. Gold and silver have been quietly outperforming the stock market all this year. Perhaps it's time for you to diversify your savings. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Flaming Freedom is next after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry.